were made in the hours following King Viserys' death.
The war be fought. Many will die. And the victor will eventually ascend the throne.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another round of Luke's TV reviews. On today's episode, we are returning to Westeros for more politicking, scheming, and dragon fury in House of the Dragon Season 2. And just a word of warning for anyone who's not caught up on the show, this review is going to contain spoilers for everything, including the season finale. Following on from the death of her son, Lucerys, Rhaenyra Targaryen is out for blood, as she seeks to reclaim the Iron Throne from the newly crowned Aegon Targaryen. Amidst this quest, Rhaenyra encounters significant political difficulties, not to mention Daemon straying far from Rhaenyra's side on his own mission of bloodlust. Meanwhile, in King's Landing, Aegon is discovering that being the ruler of the Seven Kingdoms is not all it was cracked up to be, and his brother Aemond is up to no good with plans of his own. The finale of Season 1 of House of the Dragon seemed to set the table for a dramatic start to Season 2. Blood had officially been spilled, and war was inevitable. Well, for anyone expecting all-out battle, dragon warfare, and climactic showdown between these two houses, hold your horses just for a second. Season 2 is undoubtedly tense in places, but I also feel like it's slightly under-delivered on the promise of that Season 1 finale. Now, a complaint I had of the first season were the unnecessary time jumps. Just when we were getting the lay of the land and used to this incarnation of one of our main characters, we'd suddenly jump nearly 10 years ahead. New actors would come in who, in my honest opinion, I didn't think were as good, and they'd suddenly find themselves saddled with drastically different motivations from when we last left them. Season 2 plays out in somewhat of a more traditionally linear way. And trust me, as someone who loves their fair share of bloody battles, I wasn't too disheartened by this season opting to gently apply the brakes and really delve into the political ramifications of having to prepare for war. I mean, this included treaties among houses, rallying support, and also preventing dissension from your own ranks. Rhaenyra, for most of this season, was stuck palling up Schitt's Creek. Her son killed, her uncle/lover going rogue and arranging to kill one of Aegon's children in response, and then turning tail and going off on his own crusade to Harrenhal. Her own political advisors doubt her actions or lack thereof, and even her firstborn Jaehaerys, well, seeds have been sown that he has begun to question her decisions as queen, especially as she recruits bastard Targaryens to form an army of dragon riders. Emma Darcy was terrific just as they were in Season 1. Rhaenyra did feel a little more constrained throughout this season, but ultimately that was the point of her almost suffocating stuck at Dragonstone. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel like her arc was as layered as before. That being said, her running auditions for her dragon army, that was cool. That was really, really cool. Daemon, as I mentioned, spent much of this season far away from his compatriots, wrestling with his loyalty to Rhaenyra and also his desire to be king. What started out as an interesting way of presenting Daemon as a psychologically complex character whose motivations seemed deliberately cloudy at best, soon developed into a profoundly uninteresting hallucinogenic tale of Daemon fending off visions. It largely acted as a waste of Matt Smith's talents. Sure, it came full circle at the end with Daemon realizing the importance of having Rhaenyra as queen and swearing his allegiance to her, but I love the character of Daemon Targaryen, so to see him weighed down with essentially a very flat season arc was underwhelming. Controversially though, whilst I am more supportive of Team Black in their ambitions, I happen to find that the events surrounding Team Green were infinitely more compelling. Tom Glynn-Carney was excellent this season as Aegon, snivellingly diabolical, but also totally out of his depth. He gave off massive Joffrey vibes, but somehow even more hopeless, and major props to the prosthetic team for the work they did on Aemon following his loss at the battlefield. That shit looked nasty. Aemond was even more fascinating than last time, getting a deeper insight into his torment and hatred of his brother, and that when given power, can become a ruthless leader, not driven by hatred, but fear. Ewan Mitchell is very imposing in this role and has such a strong screen presence whenever the camera is focused on him. Olivia Cooke maintained an impressive level of poise, but even Alicent was tested this season. Alicent, for me, has always been a character that has been very difficult to sympathize with, because much of this descent is from her own doing. And yet the writers this season, in an effort to rally a certain level of support around her, just strip it down to the bare bones of a mother losing control of her children. And I am very interested to see where Season 3 takes her from here on out. One character, though, who hardly registered at all in the first season, but my word were they magnetic in this season, was Larys Strong. He gives me ridiculously strong Littlefinger vibes, and I always enjoy watching a character smarter than everyone in the room doing all he can to outwit those in higher positions of power. And seeing him use and manipulate Aegon only to falter up against Aemon suggests to me that he is going to be playing a vital game of chess in Season 3. The visual effects were on point, the dragons and the combat looked immaculate. However, though, I did find there to be this odd haze around characters at the port on Dragonstone, where Corlys and his bastard sons often spent their time. It's weird, it's one of the only cases where I've ever looked at an episode of House of the Dragon and I've thought, well, that visual effects really stood out and not in a good way. Pacing was also arguably this season's toughest battle. As I mentioned, most of us, following on from the Season 1 finale, were expecting the beginnings of war, and we did get that. Just the psychological beginnings. With how the Season 2 finale leaves things, there's no other direction that they can go in apart from delivering on the battles and the war. The chess pieces have been more than set at this point. The game has officially begun. The frustrating thing was, though, that a lot of this setup just hurriedly happened in the closing moments of the finale. And seeing how last season left things, at this point, I really do hope that we are just in the throes of war at this point. I think another season solely of plotting and setting the stage of war, you're not capitalizing at this point, and you're losing audience interest on why we came to watch this show in the first place. Season 2 of House of the Dragon was perhaps a slight dip in quality compared to Season 1, but this was still a gripping excursion to Westeros. Rhaenyra's arc of building her opposition against King's Landing was exciting to see unfold, but it was the tumultuous times with Aegon and Aemond that worked the most for me this season. Some uneven pacing in a few episodes, and Daemon not being utilised to his full potential, docked the show some points, but the characters remain strong, and the promise of all-out war in Season 3 has me very excited. I'm going to give House of the Dragon Season 2 an 8 out of 10. Anyway, guys, those were my thoughts on House of the Dragon Season 2. Let me know, have you had a chance to watch the show yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, I would like to know, are you Team Black or are you Team Green? But that is all the time we have for today. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.